Hi, everyone. Welcome to the fall orientation of 2025. Before I begin, it's nice to see some of you guys have your cameras on. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. I feel like it's going to be your first week wrapping up of college. A lot of you are freshmen, so I remember how that was. But yeah, today is a day dedicated for all the service learners. We're going to be going over some basics, telling some stories, and I think this is probably like a really great way to start the week and go into what service learning is about. Just some stats. As a whole, we've had almost 200,000 hours of community engagement since 2004. With that, we have a growing number of community partners every year. We have a bunch of SL faculty that's here to help you and courses that keep growing. The whole idea of community engagement is to basically have community service on top of community work that you're doing, but it's not necessarily just community service. I like the word community engagement because everything that you learn from class is what you will be doing and engaging with your community partner. So you guys might feel a little intimidated at first, but just know that similar to another class, 80% of you are taking a service learning course for the first time. That's why this is established. And you'll also learn about what Edge Fellows are and how we're here to help. A huge 93% felt that community engagement connected directly to their academic and personal goals beyond the classroom. Exactly. And, that's what this is about. The fact that you are on a site, the fact that you get to volunteer and go there, that's not something that's typical of a college class, as you may know. So that's why these stats are there. And it's just a great overall experience that you'll lean into and, know that you have support and help along the way. What is service learning? I keep dropping the name. I feel like I should go over it with you guys. So it's intentional connection between academics and experiences. So basically what I was saying before, you'll take a class and in that class you're going to be learning terms, you're going to be learning definitions, you're going to be learning different types of ways that your community partner or who you're working with is affected. And those terms and definitions and learnings is what you'll be applying at your community site. It's integrated into your academic coursework, so you can expect to have around 2 hours at your site, and you really apply your skills and knowledge from the class. And I feel like it's also a way to enhance your learning, not to look down upon just sitting inside a classroom taking notes, but, it's something else when you are actually engaged, when you're actually doing the work and you're going outside of the class. And, like it's just civic learning through reflection. And you'll be able to have that reflection when you go to your community site for 2 hours every week. That being said, I guess I can go a little bit into myself. So I'm currently not at Dominican. I actually graduated last May. Currently, I'm attending a school in New Hampshire called Dartmouth, which I was gratefully accepted into. It was really a turnaround for my story as a whole. I started Dominican as just a hopeful pre-med that will get into med school on his first round and, ace my MCAT and get some good grades. And when I found out about service learning my first year, freshman year, I just kind of looked at it as a way for like community service almost. Like, if I do some community service, it'll look good on my application, and then med school's gonna accept me all of a sudden. I think that really changed when I was partnered with San Pedro Elementary School. There, I worked with kindergartners, and after a strenuous week of college algebra and OChem and biochem, just coming into a site where everyone was calling me Mr. Azan, and like every day seeing the impact that I was doing was really, like impactful at that moment. It was outside of what I wanted to do. I always knew that I wanted to help people, and instead of just being in a classroom, I was actually being engaged with the students. I felt like I had a special connection. There was times when we would have winter break and I wouldn't be able to go, and the teacher would literally, show me notes and stuff that they would write about me, asking if I was okay. And it just, really impacted me as a freshman, and I was so grateful to have that experience. And that's when that led me into Rotocare. So in my sophomore year, I decided to do my community service or my community engagement at Rotocare, a clinic for undocumented and uninsured people. I think that was a total game changer for me. I think it really, really changed the outlook of my career and what I want out of life. Working with undocumented, uninsured, low income, marginalized people showed me how messed up our healthcare system is, how truly messed up it is. And it just didn't sit right with me to just be a doctor and, not necessarily add on to the problem, but just kind of ignore it when you're in that field. The fact that I was able to establish a capstone project where I was highlighting the voice of the marginalized and highlighting all the work I was doing was really impactful for me. And it really help me have a turnaround in terms of what I want to do. So that's basically what I'm doing at Dartmouth right now. I'm getting my master's in healthcare administration. And to be honest, I feel like I am really establishing myself there because of all the principles and stuff that I've learned in my service learning classes. I feel like I'm better outspoken, even though I'm like the only 22-year-old in my cohort. I feel like I'm able to go, almost band for band with the doctors and talk about all my topics and talk about everything because of the stuff I learned here and then the establishment I had here. Enough of me talking. Let's have some engagement from you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and do a little activity. I think it's easy if you guys just pull out your phone and go to the camera app and go ahead and scan this QR code or just type in the link and the code there. And there's gonna be a set of questions that you guys get to answer. Okay, so what are some of the first words or word that come to mind when you think about service learning? Okay, community. That's yeah, forefront of everything. Community and engagement. You definitely want to be engaged when you're there. Helping. I see awesome. Let's highlight awesome. I think community engagement, service learning is awesome for sure. Courage, foundation, passion. I think it'll be really great if you're passionate about what you're doing and hopefully it gets you into grad school or past, whatever you want to get into. Love. I like love. Humility, giving back. I think these are all perfect definitions. I don't think you guys need this orientation. I feel like you guys got most of it in. Like these are definitely what you want to feel and have when you're at these service learning sites. So, and now to gather an idea of why everyone's here. If you just want to answer, why did you enroll in a service learning course? And just put the reasoning in for there. I see fit my schedule slash required degree, which is nice. Now you have a blessing and opportunity to see what service learning is like. Maybe you major into it or minor into it. Work closely with the community. Love that. Interest in social justice. That was me too. I went from a bio major to a social justice major as well. So if that's something you want to be more interested in, definitely reach out to your Edge fellows. And working closely with the community. Yeah, I feel like you guys are on it. I see two others too. I'm curious if anyone wants to share what the other reason was for you enrolling. One thing that I think I can share as a graduated service learner now, or someone that's done community engagement, you'll be introduced to Give Pulse. I think sometimes you'll think it might be not annoying, but you're thinking that writing a bunch of reflections and stuff could be time consuming, or I think it's really important that you keep up to date with Give Pulse and you really, really put a lot of reflection and thought into those Give Pulse impacts. Me personally, I think I have to thank Give Pulse for the application process that I went through. A lot of my primary, secondary questions was just copy and paste from Give Pulse, and it's also better to do Give Pulse the day of your going or the day after, so it's fresh in your mind. Again, I think professors aren't necessarily grading how good your Give Pulse is. It's more of how you took away from that day, and the reflection that you have. And I think that's really important. Another thing I could talk about now that I'm in grad school is the fact that a lot of companies and a lot of clinical sites that I'm seeing are looking for social work or social justice as like almost a requirement now. I see a bunch of job listings every day that are actually asking if you have a social justice degree or any sort of social work. I think that's kind of be like a new industry standard almost. I've talked to some of my colleagues at Dartmouth about it, and it's not just doing social work, but it's also what you get out of it, Like it's one thing to be in a community and say that you did community service, but it's another thing to really engage and talk about that community, being a representative, being a voice for that community. And I think this program and the set of classes that you do through Dominican really sets you up for that. And I think it's on you to really get a takeaway from it, and I feel like a lot of you guys here are smart, you know what you're doing, and I definitely, definitely would recommend getting the most out of your engagement here. That being said, I would like to hand over the mic to Natalia, who's going to talk about her story and give you guys some more tips and information.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia. I'm a senior nursing student here at Dominican. I also have a minor in community action and social change, and I'm an Edge fellow. So if anyone has any questions, you can reach out to me too. Um, I was actually interested in Dominican because of the service learning program. I did a lot of volunteering in high school, and I knew it's something I wanted to continue doing. But being here at Dominican, I realized that volunteering isn't an accurate description of what the service learning program is. It's really taking what you learn in your classes and being able to see it firsthand in the community that you work with. My first service learning course was as a sophomore. I took Ethics of Housing and Homelessness, and I worked with Women Helping All People at the Finders Keepers shop. Um, I was welcomed by Tina, the shop runner there, and pretty much everyone from the organization welcomed me. Were very friendly, which is helpful for me personally because I know I'm a more quieter person, especially as a freshman and a sophomore. Um, so that was really helpful for me to be welcomed so warmly in a community that I had never really been in before in Marin City. Um, I ended up taking three more service learning classes. I worked with Canal Alliance University Prep Program. I worked with the Hannah Project at Tam High School, and I also worked with Rotacare last semester. Um, Last semester at Rotacare, I felt like really connected the most with my major as a nursing student. I was there as a translator and a scribe for patients and providers, and it was really something special to me personally. Being able to provide patients with the autonomy over their own healthcare, for them being able to understand their health and their treatment plan in their native language, I could just tell made a huge difference for them. And I'm sure I have some nursing majors in here, and so I just wanted to add that the service learning hours that we do in our with our community partners is completely different from clinicals. At clinicals, you're really science focused. You're focused on their diagnosis, the treatment plan, all of the data that we collect. But service learning, being present in the community, gives you a completely different perspective that is so necessary for a nursing major, for everyone really, but especially as we work in settings that are person oriented to each individual and their health. Service learning I felt like has added so much more to my experience in clinicals. That's something that I can't get out of clinicals alone. My service learning tip for everyone would be to keep an open mind. Um, I think, I mean, it's normal to feel nervous or, uneasy about stepping into a new environment for the first time, but all the organizations that we work with are so friendly to us. They know we come from Dominican, so they ask questions. They really do make an effort and make it so easy to develop relationships with them. I, as a student, just showing up weekly really makes a difference in your experience at your community site. It honestly ends up being like the highlight of my week. Yeah, that's my tip. So I will say that I became a community action and social change minor, I think as a junior. It's something that if you enjoy service learning, I would really encourage you to consider, ask questions about what it could look like. We have the community action and social change minor, Latin American and Latino studies minor, and the social justice major. Thank you.
So thank you for sharing, Natalia. And now we can hand over the mic to Olga, who will also share her experience and give you guys some tips.
So, hi everyone. I am Olga. I am a third year student here at Dominican. I am majoring in biology and minoring in chemistry and community action and social change. I plan to go to grad school in the future. I am also an Edge Fellow, so if you have any sort of questions, you can reach out to me as well. So, I want to begin by sharing a little bit about my story. My family and I are originally from Guatemala and immigrated when my brother and I were a bit older. And growing up, I learned that human relationships and community are not just important, but also very necessary for fulfilling connections. Something my parents instilled in my brother and I is that our relationships with one another should have a priority and something we center in our lives. So, my very first semester as a freshman, I enrolled in a service learning course, just like many of you today. I was placed with Smithville High School, where I worked as a mentor and tutor for freshman students. That experience was transformative for me. For the first time since moving to the US, I met other students and individuals from Guatemala who I was able to build connections with because of our shared roots. We laughed, learned, and grew alongside one another. I remember being proud of watching their growth and paid witness to the incredible capacity students have when they are supported with care and encouragement. This experience encouraged me to then take on the cultural anthropology course with Dr. Wu the following semester, and it was honestly the highlight of my week that semester. I've always had a deep love for humans, the patterns we form, how we connect with one another, and the ways we make meaning together. And cultural anthropology fed that curiosity and opened my mind to the different ways we can see the world. From there, I worked with other partners, particularly Canal Alliance. Here, I began learning more about immigrant communities in Marin. I saw firsthand that while many share the label immigrant, every single person has their own story and strengths. At Canal Alliance, I encountered a mission that resonated deeply with my own upbringing, prioritizing human relationships. This community partner places an emphasis on creating spaces of trust and safety where people are able to open up and share their needs, access services, and most importantly, be treated with dignity. This experience inspired me to center my thesis work around the immigrant community because I was able to directly weave my community engagement experiences with the classes I started to take as well. Later, I worked in Point Reyes, which is in West Marin, a bit more of a rural setting, where I witnessed another side of the work, the realities that rural immigrants face, and how these challenges are sort of tenfold. I saw how isolation and limited resources shape challenges. Each of these experiences added another layer to my understanding and reaffirmed my commitment to relationship-centered work. So if I could leave you with one service learning tip, it would be this: prioritize building these relationships. This is something my family instilled in me and I carry into almost every setting of my life. Be present, be observant, share stories, ask questions with curiosity, and please keep track of your reflections while they're still fresh in your mind. I know this has been kind of reiterated throughout this call, but these details are what help you connect your service learning experiences back to your coursework. So I have noticed that when you approach service learning this way, relationships become the foundation for growth. They might open you up to new perspectives, spark unexpected interests, or even pivot your life and career path. For me, this openness transformed what could have been just a traditional biology education into something I can only describe as much more alive. My studies are no longer about only about labs, problem sets, and chunky textbooks. My studies kind of beat and breathe with their own stories and strengths of the communities I've had the privilege to work alongside with and learn from. So this is what I believe is the beauty of service learning. It not only changes the way you see others, but the way you see yourself and your place in the world. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Olga.
Thanks so much, Olga, for that wonderful insight. And now Keone will take it away with her story and some more logistics for you guys.
Hi, everyone. My name's Kiani. I'm a history and political science and social justice major, and I'm also on the women's basketball team here. So if you ever come to games, you'll see me there. I'm super excited to share a little bit about my service learning experience. Over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to kind of work all over Marin and San Rafael. Being a social justice major, I'm in a service learning every semester. So when you get that list, like I've definitely changed a couple times, but I've genuinely like experienced so much and learned so much throughout, enjoyed every bit of it. Each one has taught me something new, I would say. Like at the food bank, for example, I kind of learned that something as simple as starting a conversation, whether it's the people you're working with or the people coming in to get the support you're giving, it's like a whole difference in how you'll like interact with them and all of that. And with working with Bridge the Gap, which is another option you'll have, it gave me like a new appreciation of how much like younger kids actually look up to us. And I realized how easy it is to be a positive role model just kind of by showing up and being encouraging and like offering the support that maybe some need. And it also reminded me that like small actions really do matter, no matter what age you're at. Most recently, I really fell in love with this AAPI senior social gathering group that I'm doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's just kind of become one of my favorite things to do. Like, I look forward to it every week. Like I love interacting with these seniors. They kind of come in just to play games and stuff and kind of have those interactions with the younger generation. We like to explore new things like technology, which is always super funny. But one big thing that they have taught me is kind of don't be like scared if someone maybe doesn't speak the same language as you. There's so many different ways to communicate and connect. It just kind of takes like a little bit of patience, creativity, using your hands like I've been doing this whole time is real big, and like a willingness to learn from like each other. So what makes all of this like meaningful to me is that I've had to learn how to balance like service learning with a super busy schedule. I mean, like I mentioned, I am an athlete. And so with basketball, school, and work, it's not always the easiest thing, but it's also teaching me this like huge life lesson of time management because like once we hit the real world, obviously we're going to have a bunch of stuff we need to do. So learning how to kind of navigate through all these things has been a big thing that's like made me who I am today. And that's a big thing to take away from like the stuff you'll be doing in the community. One of the coolest parts about service learning also has kind of been seeing how it connects back to our own parts of our life. A lot of my community partners that I've worked to is like showed up to some of our games and like showed me the support too, which is huge. Like it kind of shows like how much of an impact you're actually making. Like they're going to be there to support you too, which is super cool. And like you're creating this community instead of just volunteering for someone. So, like, looking ahead, these experiences have helped me kind of better understand the kind of impact that I want to make in the future. I want to go to law school, so this is a big thing to learn how to interact with different types of people, different generations, different races. It's like a huge thing, and it's teaching me a lot that I'm going to need. I think for me, my biggest tip I could give anyone with service learning is communication. Whether it's like with the people you're working with, whether it's kids, seniors, other volunteers, just talking, listening, and, like, asking questions can make all of the difference and make your time so much more, like, enjoyable. Also, like, there's gonna be a time where something comes up and maybe you're running a few minutes late and you're like, "Oh my gosh, how do I handle this?" A simple text, email, anything is gonna make it so much better and, like, they'll be more understanding with just you telling them that. So with all that being said, we're gonna go into talking about some of our like self-paced modules. So after this, there'll be a link. You'll get to go on here and look through them all. As you go through each module, there'll be either some readings, some slides, maybe some videos and some voices. So you'll kind of just go through it at your own pace, like take your time to like learn new things and like unique things about service learning. It will teach you a lot. And then you'll hit your exit ticket and you'll fill out these questions. And once you're done filling out all the questions that they'll ask based off the videos and readings you've been doing, you'll hit submit and it will send you a PDF to your email. Once you get that PDF in your email, you'll want to upload it to any of the classes that you're taking that will need it. I'm sure professors have been mentioning this. It will be super easy. You'll just turn it in and then they'll have like to look at all of it. Um, Throughout this, you'll kind of learn like quick little things about more in depth what each service learning does and like what you'll be doing at which one you choose. Um, and then there's more information on all of this about kind of social justice, minors in community action and social change is like very focused on service learning. And then you'll go on here and you'll see all your course links for Give Pulse. And that will kind of show you what service learning each class is kind of offering. And then you'll be able to figure out what time slots you can get in and all of that. So back to the communication part, just like some reminders, little small things is kind of put the phone down, like take time to be present, take time to get those interactions that you're going to want to write about and talk about and experience. When you think about what to wear for it, just something super casual, I would say, just keep it simple, kind of something that you would find appropriate in your own way. I think a really big thing is kind of finding ways to engage. Like I said, starting a simple conversation can take you so much further and you could learn so much more about somebody. And another big thing about communication is if you're gonna miss, like tell your supervisor the day before. Email him, text him. But with that being said, also like I would say first day you meet him or her, be like, do you do better with emails? Do you do better with text? do you do better in person? Should I tell you a week before if I can? Like, find the way that's going to work for them best too, because then it shows that you're even putting more effort into it. And then with that, if you have any questions too, you can always ask us as your Edge Fellows and stuff.
All right, thank you, Keone.
Oh,
No, there's a few more.
Never mind.
sorry. So another big question is kind of how do I get there? Yes, you can drive, you can carpool, bike, walk, but if you go, say you're going to Davidson Middle School, you can go on Google Maps and kind of figure out which is going to be the best for you. So walking's 28 minutes, driving's 8, 8-minute bike ride, and then there's also a button to find public transportation, and you can kind of see like what ways you can get there and how long it's going to take based off that. So again, when you're planning to go into different service learning, keep in mind that you need to be able to have a little time slot to get there so you can be on time when you are able to. If you have any other questions about that, though, you can always find me. We're gonna put like office hours for our Edge Fellows up, and you'll find us in the new office, which is in the library. When you walk in, you'll take a right through the double doors and kind of probably see us there, depending on what time it is. Um, Fingerprinting will also be held there. It's quick and easy. We'll be there to help you through it, talk you through it. A big thing that I always forget when I go to get fingerprinted is bring your ID, like your real ID, not your student ID. And we'll go over a few community partner trainers too, and what you'll have to do and like where you'll need to be for those.
Okay, thank you, Keone. And now we can have it. Also, if you guys have questions, I think that was a lot of information. Feel free to reach out to your Edge Fellows, shoot us an email, and then now we can have Katie Ann wrap it up.
Hi everyone, I'm a senior chemistry major here at Dominican. My name is Katie Ann, and I'm also have minors in community action and social change as well as global public health. So just echoing what everyone has said, when I entered Dominican, I entered my first service learning course, which is cultural anthropology. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into until I got placed with my site, which was Next Generation Scholars. And I was tutoring middle school students on math and other resources. And during that time with them, I learned how to not just communicate with them, but also how to be a mentor. And I was able to foster these kinds of relationships and these very deep relationships with them, to the point where they would ask me like, oh, how do I get to Dominican? Or how do I do this and this? And it was a really impactful experience, just to be able to see them and form these kind of like connections with them in the long run. And then following that into my sophomore year, that's when I declared the CAS minor. And so from there, I was taking my CAS required classes, CAS 3400 and CAS 3405. And so with that program, you stay with a community partner for the whole year. And my community partner was Downtown Streets team. And with that community partner, it was very impactful just to see how these long-term relationships can last throughout the year and how they can shape not just myself, but also the people I was working with. Because I was able to hear stories from them that you wouldn't be able to tell just right off the bat. I was able to hear like their personal vulnerabilities and that honor of being able to connect with them and to hear something so raw and real. I don't think it's something that you can get just from a textbook. And so from hearing it firsthand, it was really impactful to me and it really left an impression on me. And it's why I continue to keep doing service learning, just because those stories aren't something like, yes, you do hear them online and stuff, but to hear them firsthand, it really like makes you feel like, wow, this person trusts me and this person's here for me. And this person feels like they can connect with me. And so my tip for you with service learning would be to be present in the moment, to put your all into it, just because whatever you put into service learning, it is put back out to you. And so I'd say like putting in, you get it back out. And so just be present, like Keone said, put your phone down, ask questions, be inquisitive, and make sure to have fun too, because at the end of the day, they're getting as much out of this experience as you are. And so just to conclude, I wanted everyone to turn on their cameras, and we like here in our service learning orientation, we like to do this last exercise to close off our meeting. And so if everyone can turn on their cameras and grab their phones or like a piece of paper near them, and we're gonna do a reflective exercise to just see how you wanna start off this new semester with service learning. And so some phrases, this is just like a reflection piece. Some phrases you can use are I am, I can, I welcome, I am open to, and write down what you are interested in being present in this next semester of service learning and what you wish to bring into it. So again, some sentence starters are I am, I can, I welcome, and I am open to. And then when you guys are ready, I'll give you like a minute or two, and then just hold up the piece of paper or your phone or anything to the camera, and we'll just like take a quick picture for our Instagram. Okay. All right then. So if everyone can turn on their cameras and write and show their little note. I wrote mine on my phone, but if you have a piece of paper or anything, just hold it up to the screen and then we'll take a little picture. All right then, everyone. Well, thank you for attending, and we really look forward to seeing how you guys go out and represent us as Dominican. And we hope you guys enjoy the service learning orientation. And feel free to stay back if you have any other questions, or you can drop by during our Edge fellow hours too.
And Katie, we'll send out an email to everyone listing Edge hours next week as well, when students are there, when they can help and stuff. And of course, I'll be around too. So yeah, anyone stay on if they have questions. Otherwise, thank you all for being here. And thank you so much, Ed Fellows and Azan. You guys.
Was there any exit ticket or are we good to go?
You are good to go. And if your
Okay.
faculty, I'll send a listing of everyone who's attended. So you'll get
Okay.
credit for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great night and a great semester. Bye. Bye. I love it. So many cameras, so many people.